Hello everyone, happy Wednesday. Wanted to do a little bit of a health update. I haven't really done one of these in quite some time because I haven't really done anything with my health. So a few years ago, I had posted about at the end of 2022, I had a colonoscopy and it came back that the doctor told me I had stage 0 cancer, but that he removed it and that he cut a polyp out and he cut through the good cells and the cancer was on the tip and he cut through the good cells. And I posted a whole video about this because he had told me that I had cancer. And then I got a second opinion because the doctor was not really helping me resolve the issues that I was having, like bloating and some gastrointestinal issues. And I went and got a second opinion. That doctor did another colonoscopy and she read the pathology report and she said, while it was very precancerous, he cut through the bad cells. So she went in and did when she did the other colonoscopy, she tattooed the area so we could see in the future if any of that grew back. And she took out some other polyps, and then she took 5 polyps out of my stomach, and everything was benign. So that's where I was. On top of having a diagnosis of SIBO with methanogen overgrowth, my gut microbiome was imbalanced and some weight gain. Then I went through some issues with my thyroid, nodules being suspicious, came back benign. That was all in 2023, and I kind of left it there. I had issues with my B12 and my vitamin D, although the B12 was not H. pylori or anything. That was all negative. It was just my body was not absorbing the vitamins right. And so anyways, fast forward to now. So for the past few years, I haven't really taken care of my health because I've been taking care of my parents and working full time. Now that I'm in a different... There's the cat. Hold on a minute. I gotta find the cat. She's over there. So fast forward to now, I finally started going for my checkups. So one, my B12 and my vitamin D, on and off, they go really low, and now they're both kind of low, not deficient, but low enough where, I have to up my intakes. I have now a new gastroenterologist whom I love. He's not affiliated with any hospitals, so that's great. I mean, like hospitals don't own his practice, he's independent. I had gone back to the woman who I got the second opinion from, and she is now like about an hour from me, and my insurance doesn't cover her doing the colonoscopy, so I had to find another doctor. And on the last time I went to her, she couldn't even be bothered to see me. It's like all of a sudden she changed, and told me that I'd have to see her PA from now on because she's too busy doing colonoscopies, and she didn't really. When I first got the second opinion, she was really great. She said all of the, asked me all the questions. She was really great. If you go back to my other videos, you'll see how I rave about her and everything. So something happened and she changed, and I went there for an appointment, and it was just like I traveled like an hour there, an hour back, and she couldn't even spend more than 10 minutes with me. She didn't examine me. She didn't ask me any questions. It was really disappointing. So I have this new doctor. He's very nice. He agrees with me. I showed him the pathology report from that nasty polyp, and he said, yeah, it didn't turn into cancer yet, but it definitely was precancerous. And he's like, you should have been getting your colonoscopy a year. We have to get you in a colonoscopy every year, and endoscopies every 3 years, especially because I have Lynch syndrome. And I'm going to go into that. Let me just check on the cat again. Sometimes she sleeps out. So I have Lynch syndrome, and a lot of people may be going around with Lynch syndrome and not know that they have Lynch syndrome. I was lucky because years ago I had DNA testing from a gynecologist that had like a questionnaire about how many people in your family had cancer, and she went back generations. And once I started filling it out and asking my parents about it, it was like so many people in my family had cancer and died of cancer. So she put me through a DNA screen, and as it turned out, I had a variant in my MSH6 gene. So basically, this gene repairs abnormal cells, and it's like a mismatch repair gene. So where it's basically hereditary cancer. My body doesn't fix abnormal cells as efficiently as somebody without this issue. So I have a little kink in my system where that gene is not doing what it's supposed to do, and abnormal cells can build up, and then they can turn into cancer. So that's what I have. So there, with my particular variant, I am more likely somewhere between, I think it's up to 80% more likely to get endometrial cancer than a regular person without this problem. Also, my chances increase for colon, rectal cancer, stomach cancer, but it really pushes me to, I have a higher chance of getting cancer, any cancer, but those in particular. So I have to be on top of all of my stuff. So I'm going to get my colonoscopy on June 10th. I mean, not June 10th, in July. I'm going in July, and I'm really upset because like I got tickets to go see Paul Simon, and it's like the day before my colonoscopy, and I didn't put it together. It's like I have perimenopause now, and it's really affecting me. So I don't know what I'm gonna do about that. Am I gonna like just go to the concert and then come home and do my prep, or I have to sell the tickets? I really wanted to see Paul Simon. That's one thing. Secondly, I went to my gynecologist. I had to go to a new gynecologist because my gynecologist doesn't take my insurance. So now I had to start with this new doctor. She's really great though, and she specializes in perimenopause and menopause and cancer. So I went to her. I had a ultrasound done the ultrasound showed that I have a solid mass on my right ovary, and I have a polyp, an endometrial polyp, along with a couple of fibroids. Now, I've been bleeding very, very heavy, even with my whole history of endometriosis that I got diagnosed in like 1998. I've had 3 surgeries for. The first surgery I had in 1998 for endometriosis, it had spread into my stomach lining. That's how bad it was. And I've struggled with it all of my life since I was in my early 20s. And they put me on a Lupron for 6 months, and that was a nightmare. I don't think they put anybody on that drug now. Where's the cat? Hold on. It's going to be a little bit of a long video. I'm sorry. She's right there. So where was I? Yeah, so I have a mass on my right ovary, a polyp, and an endometrial polyp, and a couple of fibroids. I've been bleeding very, very heavy. Even with all the endometriosis, which makes you bleed heavy, this is like so extreme. It's like, it's changed in the last few months. I'm like really, like, it's like hemorrhaging. I'm waking up to like being like completely soaked through, worse than ever, and wearing like 1 super tampon an hour. Also like really exhausted. My blood levels are good though. My blood levels are good. She tested my hormones. My follicle stimulating hormone is high. FSH is high, which can mean that I'm in late perimenopause, or it could be the thing on my ovary producing that, and if it is, then that's malignant. I've had a Roma test done. I'm waiting for the results for that. Roma combines the CA-125 tumor marker for ovarian cancer with HE4, which is, I guess, a little bit more in-depth test for ovarian, to see if what's on my ovary could be ovarian cancer. My doctor wants me to do an in-office biopsy. However, she wants me to consult. Now I have to go to a gynecological oncologist and discuss what my next steps are, because I have, as my doctor put in her notes, that the polyp and the mass on my ovary is highly suspect of malignancy. So I have to meet with this oncologist and decide what I'm going to do. Either it's going to be an in-office biopsy, which I'm not a fan of, because the last time I had that, like years ago, when I was having endometrial issues with endometriosis, it was the most painful experience. They told me to take an Advil and go in, I'd be fine. My mother came with me, and I was screaming so loud that they told me I was disturbing the other patients, and if I could keep it down, and I couldn't stay still. And then my doctor, he's not my doctor anymore, blamed me that he couldn't get enough tissue, and that the biopsy was inconclusive, and then I ended up having a surgery. He was such a dick. Anyway, I'm afraid to get another in-office biopsy. The other option was to go in and have a surgical procedure, a DNC, where they scrape the whole inside of my cervix, and they'll take out the fibroids and that polyp, and they can also at that time stick a camera in there and look around and see what's going on with that ovary, and maybe even remove the mass or biopsy it. So I think that's what I'm leaning towards. They told me if any of this comes back as cancerous, that I have to have hysterectomy. Now, listen, I am 50 years old. I don't have children, but I grew up in a very dysfunctional family. I guess we all have dysfunctional families to some extent, but I remember being very young and wanting to have like 10 kids. And it didn't work out that way for me, but I just remember being little and looking around, even knowing at a young age that like everything was very conditional, and wanting to have my own family where I can have my own family where people love each other and care about each other. I just wanted to have that. I've always wanted to have a family, and I spent my life with somebody who really didn't want kids, and that's, I made choices and I have to live with the choices I made, but it's very hard for me to sit here and think about that I have to have a hysterectomy, even though I still have regular periods and I'm still technically fertile. The chances of me getting pregnant are low, but I don't want my organs taken out. Like, I don't, even if it's low. What if I meet somebody, I don't know. I'm not saying that I want to have like a 10-year-old kid at 60. I guess the window has like kind of passed, but I mean, I am a late bloomer, and I just feel like I've been stuck in a stasis in my life now since I had to, for the past, like, I don't know, 10, 15 years. And in and out of this toxic relationship with my boyfriend. And now, we're both in our 50s and we both have the like serious health issues, and we broke up at the end of last year, and things have just been crazy, and I just don't know. I don't know, but I'm a little sad about that. I'm a lot sad. Hold on. I'm a lot sad. I have been, I talked also to my OBGYN about perimenopause, and she specializes in that, and had asked her about this weight gain, because I gained like 30 pounds in the past few years. And I told her, I'm like, listen, I'm riding my bike 10 miles at least every other day. I am in a calorie deficit constantly. I am in a calorie deficit constantly, and I'm working as a massage therapist, and I'm using my body like all the time. I'm very active. Somebody's always doing their lawn around here. I remember before the ride-on mowers, when people used to just mow lawns with like actual push lawn mowers. They don't do that anymore. They ride the mowers up and down the roads to the next house. Anyway, I'm eating good. Granted, it was just like my 50th birthday, so I splurged a little bit, but I'm back on track, like it's not going crazy. So, and she told me, hey, you're doing everything right. It's your hormones, and this is what every woman's problem is. So she's like, oh, the people I know that are in their 60s and fit work out 2 hours a day. Like, who can work 2 hours a day? That's insane. So, whatever, I'm trying to be comfortable in my body, but I'm really not. So I've been working out. I have lost some inches. I do feel like I'm losing inches, and the pounds are coming off very slowly, but still, I was very thin for a very long time, and now I'm just not. Anyway, I think I'm going to end this. God, so many lawn things. There's never any peace around here. I wish everybody would go back to I feel like everyone should just have gardens on instead of these green, you know, suburban lawns. I feel like it's such a waste of money and putting so many chemicals into the earth to keep lawns green and looking so manicured. We should be growing vegetables and fruits and on our lawns instead of it's such a waste of space. Nobody ever uses their front lawn. They just keep it green for what appearances? It makes no fucking sense. But anyway, that's my health update. So I'm waiting for my Roma test to come back, and I'll see when I go to the oncologist in a few weeks what my options are. I know what the options kind of are, and it doesn't help that my family is like, you should get a second opinion. There are no second opinions. I have Lynch syndrome, and now the cancers that I'm more likely to get, now I have things going on that are suspect to be those cancers. So there's no really other what is another opinion going to do? But I'm going to an oncologist, she'll give me another opinion. I just had I met with an endocrinology oncologist. He was very nice because one of my thyroid nodules that was benign last time showed changes and suggested a biopsy on the ultrasound, but he told me that it looks better than it did and you don't need another biopsy. We're going to keep an eye on it for 6 months, and if it grows fast, if it grows like a lot or has any other significant changes, that's the third one rolling down the block. Then we'll repeat a biopsy, but right now I don't have to worry about that. So that's where I'm at. Lynch syndrome is not something I really think about. It's something that I know that I have, but I feel healthy. But that's not an indicator of whether or not you have cancer. A lot of people feel great, and then all of a sudden they're surprised that they have cancer, and a lot of younger people are getting cancer. And I just wish that there was like a routine testing for the Lynch syndrome, because I would never have known if my doctor wasn't proactive and asking me about how much cancer is in my family and getting me that DNA test. So this is the fourth guy coming down the block on a ride-on. That's insane. The fourth one. Yes, kitty. If I didn't know that I had Lynch syndrome, I wouldn't be so proactive about getting, I am now, but, making sure I'm getting all of these follow-ups. And even then, I knew I had Lynch syndrome, and I wasn't getting the follow-ups. I was busy with other shit going on with my parents and taking care of them for the past few years, and working full-time and having to work full-time because my mother, I was helping my mother with her, house and needing to, and that was a very toxic job. I'm so glad I left there. That was the most toxic job. I didn't even realize until close to the end how toxic that place was, but it was draining me out. And so many horrible things happened to me there. Anyway, but I had to, the job helped me help my mother, and that's, important. So here I am. So it's like a 25-minute video. I just thought I would share what's going on with me. Maybe I'll just do more updates as I go. Who knows what this journey is going to be now. I don't want to have a hysterectomy. It's like, I guess I'm not coming to terms with it, because I guess I have to have some acceptance that I'm never going to have my own children. But I don't, I've always had dreams of my future children, and I almost feel like they're with me all the time in spirit. Maybe it's just not going to be this lifetime. I don't know, but I don't want to give up that dream. I mean, that was such a big dream for me. But I was so in love with this guy, and I was loyal to that instead of being loyal to myself. You know, I figured, okay, I'm in love with this guy. I mean, it was a very toxic relationship. He cheated on me, betrayed me, and other things I'm not going to get into, but it's like, but I sold out my dreams for a relationship that was so painful, and I feel a lot of regret about that, and also, like, I don't want to give up my dream of having kids. Even though I know that I'm 50, I don't feel 50. I still feel like I'm 30 or 28. I don't think I look 50. I don't know. There's just like a lot of emotions happening right now. So anyway, if you have Lynch syndrome or if you've had issues like this, please comment and share your insight. Or if you give me any advice. I don't want to have a hysterectomy. I feel like if I have a hysterectomy, if there's nothing in there that's cancer, they still want me to have a hysterectomy because it prevents me from getting cancer later on down the road. But I know if you take out the cervix and everything, then nothing's there to support the bladder. Then you can have prolapses in the rectum and the bladder and vaginally. And I just want to hold on to my organs. But anyway, if you could share any advice, that would be great. Okay. Have a wonderful week, and talk to you soon. Toodaloo.